Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another week of Diplomatic Language, your weekly briefing of politics, culture, and a person of interest. My name is Jarrell Hollywood Corley, Mr. Sunshine Outside, Mr. Midnight, Mr. Bougie, none other than Mr.
Hollywood.
Foods. I'm the host of the show. This is my co-host, Ryan VC Robertson, Mr. Don Draper, 7 in the morning, Mr. Freer Hands, the Vibe Cultivator.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Mr. VC, let's kick it off.
All right, man. So we're gonna start with the Russia and Ukraine, current conflict. I'm gonna start off by just giving some backstory on how they got to this point. So after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Ukraine gained its independence in 1991, and that's how Ukraine and Russia first, ended up splitting apart. And what happened was, nuclear weapons were left in Ukraine in 1991, and then they ended up giving them to Russia in 1995 in exchange as a promise to just pretty much like leave us alone, like don't mess with us, don't come and try to take us back. We're gonna give you these nuclear weapons. It was 5 of them.
Okay.
Nuclear nukes.
It was 5
yeah,
nukes?
It was 5.
Just
Yeah,
5?
I believe so. I could be wrong, but I believe 5. I believe 5.
Those 5 can do a lot of damage, though.
That's a fact. In 2000, Russia signed a deal with the EU, that's the European Union, pretty much reaffirming that agreement that they're gonna leave Ukraine alone, and it was all good. And then in 2014, they had a change in the seating. So the president
The
was
seating where? In Ukraine?
like at the top, like the president.
Okay.
So the president was then Viktor Yankovich.
Oh, he was pro-Russian, wasn't he?
He was pro-Russia. He was pro-Russia, and he refused to renew that deal with the EU. And he also, so instead of renewing the current deal, he ended up signing a new one, which is pro-Russia, that was gonna benefit the Russian economy, and and the Ukraine wouldn't stand for it, so they started doing protests, and it eventually led to Viktor Yakovich fleeing Russia, and that's where the military stepped in. And
Okay.
it was
Is that where did they have the occupation in Crimea as well? Is that when that happened?
um
2015?
I believe so. I believe so. I
Okay.
believe so. I
Okay.
believe so. And so pretty much, that's the build up, to where it's at now. So pretty much it's just a struggle for power, territory and money. Russia wants to take over and Ukraine not having it.
Some recent developments basically have been that, I would say maybe like last November, maybe October-ish, like towards the end of 2021, Russia had a buildup of about 100,000 troops on the
Yeah.
Ukraine border. And, that was definitely, raising a red flag, and everyone was trying to determine like what exactly is going on. They're doing military exercises in the border. So it's causing a lot of attention and worry in the West about whether or not, there's going to be a possible Russian invasion. And I think just this past week, the British Royal Air Force, they airlifted a bunch of anti tank missiles and weapon systems to Ukraine to assist them in this if anything blows off. But I mean, so I guess the question of the hour is do you think Russia will invade?
I believe they will.
Okay.
I believe they will.
The timeline, exactly when you think they might?
I don't have a timeline on when I think they will, but I just think it's going to happen just because of the build up of, where they started from and where they at now. I think it's to a point where they're at a crossroads to where it's like either they're going to, take action now and they're going to try to invade and take it over, or it's just not going to happen. And yeah, and Putin, man, he just seems like he's just going to do what he wants.
He's determined to get it back.
Very determined, very determined.
Right.
And something I learned in my research was I didn't even realize that we were allies with the Ukraine.
Okay, right. Well, we're allies, but the thing is that they were promised to join the NATO alliance, and they NATO hasn't kept that promise yet. So there's a lot of contention there, and Putin, Russia's president, he's very wary of the NATO alliance spreading eastward. He thinks that is an encroachment on Russia's sovereignty, and he's not really for them expanding. So if they welcome Ukraine into the NATO, that's probably definitely going to, turn up the heat a little bit. and
Right.
Putin's not going to be too happy about that. Me personally, as things stands now, I don't think that. I mean, I get it. Like they kind of have been, digressing from all the progress they made back in the early '90s.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think at this moment in time, Russia. I mean, if Russia does invade, they're going to be in this alone. I don't think China's really going to be getting too involved with them for the simple fact that China has a lot of economic deals with the West. They're trying to make money. So
Yeah.
that might mess up their cash flow if they get involved with Russia. And quite frankly, I don't think the US or the Western European powers are going to get too involved. They might give some, they might, amp up the arms deals, or they may, give them some sort of support, but I don't think they're going to get actually involved. They didn't get involved in 2014. And Putin also may want to be a little skeptical about how he moves because Biden's talking about a lot of international sanctions. And these sanctions could hurt Russia's pockets and also hurt Putin's ambitions in like the technological field that he's trying to, build up in. But we don't know, man. We gonna see.
What I seen, you saying the U.S. is not going to get involved if it happens. Biden's saying different.
What is Biden saying?
Biden said that, okay, so Biden's first statement was, pretty much, I'm going to paraphrase, like we're going to get involved if the damages to Ukraine are severe enough. And then the president of Ukraine came back and said, in so many words, you guys are going to get involved regardless.
That's not good enough. Yeah, I actually read that somewhere. I mean, point, man. They might.
Yeah. And then wait, and then Joe Biden came back and said he doubled down and was like, well, he walked it back and then doubled down. He said, yeah, we're going to get involved regardless. Like, if Russia invades Ukraine, it's going to be severe consequences. That's what he said. Severe
Russia.
Consequences.
Okay.
No, like from the like from the U.S. to Russia.
US.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be severe consequences. Okay.
All right, you think they're gonna do boots on the ground? Like what do you
yeah, think? Man. I think if Russia decides to invade, man, it's gonna be a deployment.
You might be headed over there, huh?
Who knows? Oh no, who knows?
All right. We're gonna see.
All this is public knowledge. You can
most definitely. This is all on the news. All this on the news, man. We don't have any kind of inside scoop.
Nothing.
We're basically doing all our own research, DYOR, and we just follow the news closely.
Man, this is crazy. Like all of this political stuff and this, this country wants to invade this country, but they were once one country, and then we have to get involved because we're somehow not indebted, but like we have some type of agreement with like another country.
Right.
But this conflict really ain't got nothing to do with us.
Well, I mean, it's almost like hood politics, man. Your boys getting involved with something, you gonna ride it or not, So it's the same games, a different level,
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's like they're pulling the strings from, high up, and then the actual foot soldiers and these units, and they just get the order, they just go.
Right.
It's crazy, bro. A lot of soldiers and people who if this does pop off, they won't even know what they're fighting for. They'll just be like, oh, I'm going to Russia, or I'm going to Ukraine. They won't even know what they're fighting for. They'll just be going.
They're fighting for America's interest. Like we have to keep stability in the region, because you got to think about it, man. Do you want a world where Russia and China are on top? I don't know. I don't think so.
No. So let's see how the story unfolds.
Let's see how the story unfolds. Most definitely. Okay, well, on a culture tip, I actually watched Kevin Hart's new miniseries on Netflix. What is it?
True story. Yeah, true story.
True story. Definitely eye-opening, man. Very riveting turn. Lots of turns and twists. Had me on the edge of my seat. I was actually like afraid in the beginning. I was afraid for this man. Like I was very invested emotionally in this series and the outcome of what was going to happen. Now, when his brother came into the room, warning, guys, spoiler alert.
This is old. They've seen
it is?
Yeah, this came out Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, well, it's news to me, so we a little old. We a little old.
Yeah.
But when his brother came in the room and woke him up, something told me his brother had something to do with it. Did you peep that at first or no?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Okay, but you didn't know to what extent.
I didn't know to what extent, but it's a lot of things that was wrong with that whole scene. Like,
I thought his brother may have given her the drugs to take. I wasn't sure. But then later that was because I was thinking the whole time watching, I was like, yo, why was Shorty overdose? So what is she doing? Like, what's going on? So anyway, you give your point. What were your thoughts on the movie or on the
I thought it was a pretty good series. It was a play on survivor's guilt.
What is that?
So survivor's guilt, right? So I'm gonna use two things as an example. So Kevin Hart, he's from the inner cities of Philadelphia.
Okay.
So when he makes it out, sometimes you have that survivor's guilt of like you feel guilty that I've made it out in my situation, but there's still family, friends from back home that still struggle, still are in poverty. So
this is a general theme, not an actual movie or something that they were remaking.
No, this is like a phrase or like you can just Google like survivor's guilt, definition.
Okay. All right.
For example, like military. People leave for the military and they start new lives. They come into money, experiences, and they still have people from back home who may not be afforded that opportunity because of mistakes they've made in the past, stuff like that. So like survivor's guilt. Gotcha. And I think he faces that with his brother, because his brother is still leeching off of him in a way. And I think Kevin Hart is just like he feels indebted to his brother in a way because, oh man, like I made it out and my brother.
Rapid fire question. Are you giving the money or not? What are you doing?
Oh no.
You're not giving him the money.
So
you don't dead all that. You dead and all that.
He asked for the money, or was it the girl who
I'm just saying in general, if you made it, okay, and you have family and friends back, in Virginia,
yeah,
who were still struggling to live the same life, and they hitting you up asking you for money, what you gonna do? You giving them money or not? You gonna help out or not? What you gonna do?
Well, first we need to get some backstory. Okay, it's like what was the exact situation to where I remember the bodyguard asked for the money, but who was the first person to initially? It was his brother, right?
Rapid fire question, real quick. What are you? I'm not comparing your situation to the situation in the story.
Oh, you're just talking in general.
I'm just asking you in general. Like if you made it and you have people, like for instance, if once you blow up and VC is known, your friends start hitting you up. You gonna suffer from survivor's guilt? You passing out handouts or not? What you gonna do?
Am I at Kevin Hart's level?
What do you mean at Kevin Hart's?
Like, do I got Kevin Hart money?
You got Joe Budden money.
If I got Joe Budden money, they need to come to me with some type of plan for this money, and it can't be past a certain amount.
If you had Kevin Hart money, what would it be? Same thing.
Same thing, yeah, same premise.
Okay.
Same premise. Okay. Same premise.
All right, well, okay, let's get back to the story. So basically, his brother had a long line of just making mistakes, and people like that, they leech onto you, and they know where your soft spots are, where your vulnerabilities are, right, and they'll take advantage of that. So I'm just assuming, based off what I saw from the movie, that Wesley Snipes, what was his name, Carlton.
Yeah.
Carlton's character was a risk taker. He always got in over his head, and he always felt like, hey, I can do what I want, and I can take these risks because my brother is always going to have my back, and he's going to bail me out.
Right.
So I think there was a series of events that, we didn't hear about where Kevin Hart's character, where Kid always got involved and bailed his brother out. And every time he got involved with his brother, it threw his A game off. So, and then the last instance, Carlton.
Do you think this is based on like a real true story?
You think Kevin Hart actually got caught up in this? What you saying?
No, I'm asking you, because you said this is like a series. You said you think this is like based on like a series of events with his real brother.
What I'm saying is like that's the backstory.
Oh, okay, got you.
And so you can kind of clue in, like, hey, everyone on the team knows about the relationship he has with his brother,
Right.
Everyone's warning Kevin Hart, hey man, not this time. When are you gonna stop doing this?
Yeah.
You know, you can pick up on context clues and understand that, hey, look, even though they don't explicitly show it, you can kind of gather that this has been a trend throughout Kevin's rise to success.
Yeah.
Brother. You know, so I'm just picking up on that. And so in this particular instance, he was in too deep with some Eastern European gangsters in Philly. He owed them, I think it was $600,000 because they were silent partners in his restaurant venture, which failed.
Yeah.
He owed them money. So he was
The
calling
brother.
them back. He was calling them back to get money. And his ploy, basically, he was going to blackmail his brother.
Mm-hmm.
So he set him up on this date with this girl, and his girlfriend, actually, Carlton's girlfriend. And she pretended that she was dead in his bed. And Carlton goes in the room, wakes him up, and causes a big mess and a frenzy.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out what's going on. So they decide to call Ari, which is like he's another European gangster to the brothers, you know, that own the strip club, Deja Vu. And Ari, I guess he dispenses of bodies. That's his specialty. And so he told Kevin, hey, I'm gonna get rid of the body for you. He got rid of the body. And then once the body was gone, you know, Kevin thinks he doesn't have anything else to worry about. So now the guy said, okay, now you gotta pay. And then you played, so now you gotta pay. You gotta pay to play. You know, so this guy basically is trying to extort him for $6 million over the course of a year, $500,000 a month for the next 12 months.
Right.
Yeah. So Kevin was thinking about doing it, but then his advisor was like, hey man, these sorts of things don't end. Like that year's gonna come up. Next thing you know, they're gonna ask you for more money. So Ari basically puts Kevin Hart, your kid, in a position where his back is up against the wall. And he's assuring him, like, look, man, if you don't pay up, something bad's gonna happen. So kid is just like, man, it's almost like this one TV show I saw, I forget what it was, but it was about cryptocurrency. And one of the gangsters was trying to tell the son, oh, we about to kill your father, They was trying to get him to kill his father.
Mm-hmm.
His father was a gang member too, but you know, the two heads of the gang were kind of warring, and they had odds of the direction they wanted to take. So the kid's like, look, man, you trying to make me kill my father? So at first you think he's gonna go along with it, but he's like, nah, man. So he went and he killed the other crime boss along with the other guy that was along with him, shot both of them in the face and ran home. Because he's like, I'm not gonna kill my father. So I feel like Kevin Hart was in a similar situation. He's like, look, man, you coming after my life, coming after my livelihood. His back was up against the wall. He's like, look, man. In that moment, Kevin Hart stood up for himself. And he's like, look, I'm not taking this. And he decided to kill the guy.
Yeah, it's a lot of different nuances in this series. You got desperation, you got survival, and you also have just the unwillingness to just concede. Like Kevin Hart was not going to concede to pay that man $6 million, but he was so desperate that he was willing to do whatever to make it go away.
Rapid fire question: you gonna strangle Ari, or you paying $6 million? What you doing?
I'm not paying $6 million, bro. I'm not, because you know it's true. It's never gonna stop. It's never. It's like now, right? Like say, you know, both of us are, you know, inside of another industry. So like imagine if a soldier gets caught up in some type of scandal, and the person who knows about the scandal says, hey, I'll keep my mouth shut, but you gotta give me half of your check. Every person 15 for 6 months. You think it's gonna stop right there? No.
No, I mean, I'll just take my chances.
I'll take my chances in court, or I'm gonna just deal with you another way.
Right. I'm just gonna take my chances.
Yeah, so, that's a fact. I'm not playing. No.
Real world. Honestly, he should have just called the ambulance, because that would have called the bluff. But then, but then the story would have been over.
Exactly. I wish they would have had it a different type of way, because that situation right there, all he got to do is just call the ambulance, like, bro, like, I woke up, she was overdosed, like.
Right, big deal. At worst, what's gonna happen? Oh,
'Cause
kid's in bed with another woman. His wife is divorcing him. His wife was already seen with another man. It's like it's like Kim Ye 2.0. You hear what I'm saying?
kinda, kinda.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, scale of 1 to 10. Would you rate it?
The show?
Yeah, the show.
I'm gonna give it a 10.
How'd you feel about the ending when
I
they were
loved it.
in?
I liked it. I liked
You
it.
liked it?
Yeah.
I think it was a little too far fetched. I think it was a little too far fetched. It
It
was.
was, but it's a movie, man. It's a movie. But then again, it's really not that far fetched because you got to think about it. Everyone's looking at Kevin Hart as this innocent comedian. He's a star in children's films.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like the guys were coming after them, shooting them. There were no cameras there. You get what I'm saying? So like he kind of played
It's the way
huh?
he shot him. He shot both of them with like one bullet.
Yeah, headshots. No, definitely not.
Headshots.
Headshots, one hand with the gun.
Falling
No,
down.
he's not doing that.
Boom, falling
No, he's
down.
not
One
doing
shot.
that. No, in between. No, he's not. Yeah, no,
He's not doing that. At least make it a little more realistic. You know what I'm saying?
This is true. Now, my thing was this too. Like, there were some scenes where he was getting beat up. There were some scenes where he was trying to be serious, and I had to hold myself back from laughing because it just looked like little Kevin getting his ass beat. In like one of those comedy movies or something. My barber suggested that I should, not view him in the comedian light, view him in a new light, and that's really what I was trying to do while I watched the movie. But I thought it was a great movie, man.
One of the funniest scenes was when he was like real pissed. He ended up like destroying his hotel room.
Yeah,
that was funny. It wasn't meant to be funny, but it was funny.
Oh, that was funny.
Another one of the good scenes was when
he decked the bodyguard.
That was a good one. But I'm talking about when he was at the he got booked to perform at this company's dinner.
And I felt bad for that guy.
Yeah,
he really embarrassed that man.
Yeah. He was like, he said, "What'd you say? Like, nigga?" You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
That was a great teachable moment because that really happens.
It does happen. It does happen. I think that was touching on a lot of the instances last year in which people lost their job, like that lady in the park when she was filming the guy in the park in New York, the black guy that was walking his dog or something.
Right.
They got into a conversation and she was saying she would call the cops on him or something silly.
Yeah.
She ended up losing her job. So that was like commentary on those sorts of instances, but definitely a teachable moment, most definitely.
All right. One more question for me. All right. So at the end, the bodyguard came in and said, "Yo, Kevin, so you knew about this the whole time and you had me in harm's way?" He said, "You know what? If you want me to continue to protect you, $6 million. What you gonna do? Are you paying it to your bodyguard?"
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to him. Because the thing was this.
I think you're I think you're capping, but okay.
Kevin had a plan. He was going to he was initially going to get 25 million from the studios to do the sequel. So then
he charged him 50.
He charged him 30. He charged him 31.
31.
They would basically pay for the 6 million.
Okay, that makes sense.
So they paid for the 6 million, not him.
That makes sense.
But I hear what you're saying though, because you got to think. Okay, so I mean, you got to understand. It's like this. How much?
I'd pay him 6.
You're not?
No, I would.
Yeah, well, the thing is that you have to ask yourself, like, how much do you value that person?
Right.
How much do you value that person? And because my thing is, if he went to the news with this, nobody would have believed him. No one would have believed him. They would have said he's disgruntled because he got fired. No one would have believed him. But it was like, you know what? I'm gonna do right by you. You're gonna stand by me. I was wrong for getting myself in this situation that also affected you and my other team members, and you guys could have potentially been killed. He took a bullet for Kevin.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, he took a bullet. I mean, come on, man. He took a bullet for the man.
I don't know if you caught it at the very end. After his bodyguard walked out, Kevin was talking with his manager, and then Kevin was like, "Hey man, me and you both know what he's capable of doing, so let's not even go that far."
Oh, I don't remember that. What do you mean?
Did you catch that? You got to go back and rewatch. He was like, He was like, yo, me and you both know he's capable of, so let's go ahead and just pay him $6 million.
He's a black belt, right?
I don't know. I don't know what they were alluding to, but he said it for a reason. I don't know. He said it for a reason. Got to go back and watch.
That's true. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, well, we lost another relic in society this past week. Andre Leon Talley. Yep. You know anything about him prior to his passing?
No, I just learned about him. You know, when you hit me, it was like, yo, research him. I said, okay, cool. But he got a pretty extensive resume, though. Pretty extensive resume.
Yeah, I didn't know his name, but I've definitely seen him around and about in the past. And I saw he's a very colorful dresser. And if you know me, I do know a thing or two about fashion and style. And so I just, clicked on this video to see who he's like. This guy looks familiar. Who is this guy? I was like, he passed away, and I learned a little bit about him. He was the first African-American male creative director of Vogue magazine from 1988 to 1995. And then he became the editor at large, and he was a very big advocate for, diversity in the fashion industry. So he was very well respected, man. Very well respected, the high echelons of the fashion industry.
Yeah, one thing I liked a lot about what he did, so he had a signature piece of clothing that he would wear all the time.
I was gonna mention that.
Yeah, the cape.
Yeah, he would wear cape, caftans, and robes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said that he wore them because it was like his armor.
Okay.
It was like his armor because, like, he said when he wore it, he felt protected because the fashion industry was so unruly, and so
that was his way of standing out, basically.
No. He said he felt protected, when he had the cape on and like the big robes and stuff. He said he felt like he had like an armor of like shield around him.
Oh.
To protect him from haters.
He felt like a boss, huh?
Yeah, boss. Just like, how like, Knight, they got that shield or like the riot shield. Yeah.
All right then. Cape Crusader.
And a fun fact about him, when he was 17 years old, he was a receptionist for Andy Warhol.
All right, I saw he did some work for Andy Warhol. And actually, it's funny because when he was younger, I think he was from North Carolina, and his grandmother she was like a maid or something at Duke University or one of those big universities in North Carolina. And he would go to the campus and read Vogue magazine.
Yeah.
Reading the magazine is what inspired him, to get involved in the fashion industry. And he reached great heights, man. So that goes to show you, the great things you can accomplish. All you gotta do is put your mind to it, stick to it.
Put your mind to it, stick to it. And then, some people just have that it factor, like that magic. Like some people just have it,
He definitely had it. Was he also an America's Top Model too, or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. So are you ready to see where the story goes?
I was watching a little bit of like stuff on YouTube about the trial. It's just so much information out there. I didn't really know where to start. Right. I know they're saying that she got found guilty of sex trafficking though.
Right. So Ghislaine Maxwell, British socialite and also former associate of the late Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Was convicted on 5 or 6 counts of sexual trafficking. And she also faces a second trial, for lying under oath about Jeffrey Epstein's abuse of these underage girls. But it's crazy, because Prince Andrew is getting ready to face trial here in America soon for his involvement, where he allegedly was also involved with the abuse of these underage women. And it's just crazy because, one of our favorite artists, it's almost like he foresaw everything that's happening right now. Let's take a listen. Sex trafficking was exposed. Jeffrey Epstein disposed. Yeah. This case ain't closed. The feds got a hold of Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's see how long the list goes. Can't sweep this under the rug. It's too many bills to unfold. Let's stick around and see where this story goes. So I wonder where the story is going to go. Is Prince Andrew going to get convicted? Is he going to be found guilty? But I heard that her lawyers are actually motioning for a second trial because one of the jurors, it was revealed after the ruling that he was sexually abused as a child. So he shared that story, you know, with the other jurors while they were deliberating whether or not she was guilty. So they're thinking that, you know, his personal story, his personal, his sexual abuse may have played a role in how he felt about the situation. They're thinking that maybe because of that and his bias, that she didn't have a fair trial. That's their line of thinking, at least. You know, I didn't really follow the case closely. I just thought it was interesting, you know, that
makes sense. It makes sense.
I mean, I didn't think that I didn't think she was. I thought she was gonna get off, but you know, because of her status, you know, but she got convicted, man. And then with the whole thing, everything going on with Prince Andrew, it's just very interesting, man. It's just interesting to see what's gonna happen. You know?
Yeah, man, it's sick, man. They saying that she was like the mastermind behind bringing all these young girls in. They're saying that she's like a master manipulator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's deep, man.
Apparently, she was like the lady of the house, you know. But he had a lot of close ties, a lot of people high up there, you know. So who knows who was on that plane doing whatever they were doing, you know, with these women, man. Who knows? But
they're saying that all kinds of celebrities and stuff like that have been to Epstein Island. Like
Naomi Campbell was actually mentioned at being at the party. But just because they were there at the island don't mean that they knew about what he was doing.
You know what were they doing at the island?
Huh?
I said, well, if they don't know what's going on, I don't believe that. If you're at the island, you know what's going on at the island.
This is probably true. And I feel like they may not have explicitly known, but I feel like, you know, if you're running in those circles, somebody knows something.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you right now, like a lot of those people running in those circles, when this hit the news, that was not their first time hearing about it. I can tell you that much.
No.
I'm sure a lot of people knew what he was doing prior to it becoming national news. Now, how much they knew or who knew, that's a different story. But I don't want to go as far as saying, hey, if you were getting invites to the island and you knew what was going on, per se, but I don't know, man. It's a dangerous game, man. Hollywood. It seems as if justice is going to be told, and we will wait and see.
The story is definitely going to unfold. His story is definitely going to unfold.
We will wait and see how the story unfolds. So,
you think she gonna sing? You think she gonna sing?
Hey, we might. I mean, Prince Andrew might be a person of interest, you know, later on in the future once everything comes out, and whether he's involved or not. But I don't know, man. Like you said, you don't think they're gonna be doing any like time in like a serious place. They're gonna be putting in some kind of secluded area.
Yeah, they'll be in a
or something.
They'll be like in a mansion somewhere and on like an island or something.
Yeah, and you really think Prince Andrew will get, a part was like they might convict him if they going this far. He might get convicted, but I don't know, man. You think they might? I don't know. There has to be some backroom dealings going on.
When there's that much money in play, yeah, they may put out to the public, oh, convicted of blah, 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 how many years? But are they really going to, you know, face that sentence honestly?
With the general populace.
With the general population, or are there? I don't think so. You know, there's so much money involved.
We should follow up with an interview with one of them. Write them a letter and see if they're there.
And then get flown out to get flown to the island.
We can check the prison records to see if they actually there.
Okay.
You know, and go.
You know, that is something I actually want to do. I want to, like, you know, get into the jail and interview somebody like a serial killer.
You get to the jail, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Soon come.
Booty for you.
Hey, look, VCTV. Hey, look, VCTV behind bars.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, keep me out of that one. All right.
Could you imagine? Nah, we'll talk about that off air.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. And this concludes this episode of Diplomatic Language. All right.